Good evening or morning or afternoon or wherever you're from, where you're watching this. My name is Taylor White, and today I'm going to show you how to become familiar, help you familiarize yourself with your Polaroid land camera. All Polaroid land cameras are pretty much the same, so no matter what you have, starting with the 100 all the way up to the 450, I believe is the top model, you should be fine with this guide. So first thing you're going to notice when you have your Polaroid is this cover. So basically on this model, I do have the eyepiece, or I have a 101. The 101 has the eyepiece that is recessed. On a cheaper model, such as the 210, the eyepiece is fixed at the top of the camera. That's where it's mounted. And on one of these cameras, you just push down, pull the filter down, then pop this pin to pull the cover off. And on a more expensive camera, like the 101, you lift up, pull forward, and there's the same mechanism down here to pull the cover off. Now, if you're lucky enough to get a camera that has a manual still with it, the manual will be in this cover. This is mine right there. Brand new, well, not brand new, obviously, because this camera was made in '64 or something like that. But perfect condition manual, and that's all cool. So, first thing you're going to want to do is flip up the eyepiece. If you have a more expensive model with the eyepiece that flips down and is recessed into the cover. So let's go ahead and take a look at this camera. So first thing you're going to see here, this is the lens. This is a lens hood of sorts. On the more expensive models, it flexes and it's spring-loaded. On the cheaper models, it is fixed. I know it's not going to be in focus, but you can see it is fixed and plastic. This is mostly made of metal, and the 210 I have over here is mostly made of plastic. That again, obviously, being because it is a more consumer-friendly model. Okay, I had a little problem there with the card. It was full, a noob mistake, but yeah, that's what happened there. Okay, so anyway, back to the camera. This is the lens, and this ring around the lens right here, I don't know if you can see it, the light is kind of casting a shadow over it, but let me shine this flashlight on here. This is the ring to select how long your shutter is going to stay open for the exposure. Over here you can see it says darken, and over here it says lighten, and this is the neutral point, this little arrow right there. It's the same thing on the 210, so I'm not going to bring it out and show you. But yeah, so basically over here the shutter is faster in darken, and in lighten the shutter is open for a longer period of time. Moving on, this right here is the light sensor, or the meter, which, since this is a Polaroid automatic, as you can see, 101 automatic, this pretty much just gets a general idea of how much light is in the area that you're shooting, and it adjusts the exposure in combination with what your setting is down here to correctly expose the image to whatever the computer inside thinks it should be, which usually is it does a pretty good job of doing that. So anyways, moving on, down here, this is the lever to switch between ISO speed of film. So for instance, nowadays, all the film, or most of the film that you're going to buy, looks like this. It's Fujifilm FP100C. Fujifilm also makes a 3000B and a 1000 or a 100B, excuse me. Those are the black and white variants. But these cameras were originally made for 75 speed film, which was made by Polaroid, but as many of you know, Polaroid ceased to create or to manufacture that film. So if you have an understanding of photography, you know that 75 speed film is not going to be as sensitive as 100 speed film. So the camera by default will let a little more light in and overexpose the image by a tiny bit. But you really don't need to compensate for that too much, because it's really 25, a value of 25 in ISO is not that big of a difference. So yeah, so this basically just switches between 3000 and 100 on the film speed. So if you have 3000 film, 3000 speed film loaded, then you would switch that, obviously. And on top, it even says black and white and color. And when I switch that, the arrow switches positions between the two. So, yeah, that is that. Still looking on the front of the camera, this is the shutter prime switch. I do have film loaded into this camera, as you can see here, so I'm going to move over to the 210, which is the exact same, more or less, but more than less, so you know what I mean. But it doesn't have that little switch down here, but instead it has a switch on top, if you can even see that. Let me break out the flashlight again, to switch between 75 and 3000. And let me see if you can see in here. Basically what that does is when it's at 3000, it puts a little pinhole over the where the film will be exposed to let less light in. So it's pretty much, it's very cheap, but hey, it works. So good job to Polaroid for figuring that one out. But yeah, so you just push this down and it locks. That primes the shutter, and you release the shutter like that. So basically how this light sensor works, or the meter works, is if you have darken, like I said, faster shutter speed, lighten, wait for the click, there you go, lighten is a longer, a slower shutter speed. And that is because if I have, say I have this flashlight, I have it lighten, this flashlight is shining directly into the meter, it's going to be a super quick shutter because it sees a lot of light in the area, or in the area that you're shooting. And I have darken, it's going to be even quicker. Whoops, if I didn't block the release spring. Super quick. So that's basically how that works. You should have a basic understanding of photography if you want to go ahead and use these old film cameras. But that's how the shutter primer works, or yeah, I'd just say shutter primer, I guess. Moving on, I'm going to bring back the 101. How are we doing for time? 5 minutes already? Jesus. Okay, so what this is right here, you push this up, the little arrow, and it allows you to extend the bellows of the camera. Go ahead and pull those out very gently. Yeah, what the bellows is, it's like, it's pretty much keeping light, it's moving the lens further from the film. And these things right here, what these do, these are focusing. It's a focusing mechanism, so it basically extends the bellows and retracts the bellows to move the lens further or closer to the film for focusing, because obviously the film is fixed back there like a shutter on a digital camera would be. And yeah, that's how that works. So I'm going to move on to the eyepiece next, and you'll see pretty much how you're going to focus on one of these cameras with this particular eyepiece. You can't even see it. This particular eyepiece, or the 210, which has a rangefinder instead of the viewfinder and the focusing eyepiece. So that's how that works. You just push these back and forth to focus. It'll make more sense if you're looking through the eyepiece itself. So next, on the top of the camera, actually go ahead and push this down and push the bellows in very carefully. You don't want to force it because you don't want to ruin the frame of the camera. Obviously, looking on top of the camera, there is the mounts for your strap, and then the shutter release, and then your eyepiece, which is secured on this model by a magnet, and it's very strong. It doesn't move around. Let's look on the bottom. There is this little lever, and since I have film loaded, I'm going to move over to the 210. This little lever that when you pop it allows you to open the back, and over here you have the rollers, which look like this, and the film passes through it when you take a picture. There's a package of, let's see, hold on. I have this photo from earlier, this negative from earlier, and normally your photo, the film, this is a frame, or this one is an example, it would be facing this way, and this little package over here has chemicals in it, so when you pull it through the rollers on the side of the camera, I'll show you how that works in another video, but when you pull it through the rollers, it breaks actually I think the package is over here. I don't know. I guess it is over here because I was just spread it out. But it breaks the chemicals, or it breaks the package, and the chemicals spread out to develop the film. And that is for a predetermined amount of time, which is, you can see over here, if I would actually move it. Oh, this kid. Shut the fuck up, faggot. Okay. Sorry I had to do a little jump cut because my brother left the headphones on with PlayStation and his friend was like, Noah, are you there? So anyway, pull this through, chemicals break, spreads it over the film, and develops for a predetermined amount of time, depending on how cold or hot it is outside. So those are the rollers. These are the pins that keep the film cartridge pressed against the camera. This is a film cartridge made by Polaroid when they actually did make their film. It's metal. It's very, very well built very well. This is the new one over here from Fuji. Completely plastic. It's lighter, probably way cheaper to make. But these both work the same way. I like to use the Polaroid one to keep in here just because I want to keep the Polaroid one because it's really cool. You just slide the film package in like this well, I'm just going to show this because you're going to be more familiar with this cartridge. But slide it in, push it down. That's how the film works. I have a video actually on how to load film, so go check that out if you haven't seen it already. I'll put an annotation, or not an annotation, but I'll put a link in the bottom description, bar or box, whatever. That's what that looks like. And then right here, you see the bellows, and then the lens, and then if I prime the shutter, see that move into place. Whoops, if I didn't block the release again, you can see the shutter open. So, and I can cover actually the light meter, and you can see straight through the other side. There's my pinky, and that's how that works. So that's pretty neat. That's where you load the film. And then over here on this side, you have your battery compartment, which when you get a Polaroid, that's what you want to look for. Is in the battery compartment, because this one has a little bit of corrosion up here, a little battery acid, but none on the positive lead. And overall, it's in really good condition. So you also want to look over here to see what kind of battery it takes. There's some information. This Polaroid takes a 532 Ever-Ready 3-volt battery, or the equivalent of 3 volts in another battery. You could pretty much put two AAA batteries in here, and it would work perfectly fine. You'd have to do some mods or whatever, but there's videos on that. I might do one myself, I don't know yet. But yep, that is possible. So let's go ahead and move on to the eyepiece of the 101. Over here on the more expensive models, let me actually stand up, move. I'm not going to move this, but I will zoom in. You know what? I will move this. There we go. And let me switch this to manual focus. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. There we go. It's going to be a little bit darker because it's letting less light in since I'm zoomed. It's letting less light into the sensor. But so this one says focus, this says view. Basically what you see in this eyepiece is a red or a green image, a green and blue image, like a 3D picture, kind of 3D glasses, and a red image, and you have to line them up using the focusing mechanism on the front of the camera. You line those up, and when they're perfectly aligned, it's in focus. And then you look through this, which has pretty much a box in the middle, or not in the middle, but on the outside of the. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. You can see the box right there. It looks a little bit bigger when you're actually looking in. I can't. There's no way I could focus close enough with this lens. That's about as close as I can get. But yeah, you can see that. So when you look through, you can compose your subject. You can compose your picture that you're going to take. And that's how you do that. So let's move on to the 210, or the more consumer-friendly model. The front of it looks like this. This is the actual rangefinder. This is where the information for the rangefinder is excuse me, is displayed. And there's a mirror that reflects it into the viewfinder. But I'll show you what this looks like on the back. It's just this, and if I can get that in frame, it's just that. And then I wish I could show you what it looked like through there, because it'd be kind of helpful. Maybe I can bring up an image on the screen now. If you're lucky, it would be on there. If not, then this is awkward. But pretty much there's that composition square where you where you frame your image, and then on the side there is a bit of numbers. There's infinity, 20, actually let me look through there real quick, hold on, I apologize. Infinity, 20, 10, 7, 5, 4, and looks like 3.5. So that's basically how far you are from your subject that you want to be in focus in feet. So you have to kind of guesstimate, which it's not as efficient as the 101, because with the 101 your image is going to be in focus all the time. It's going to be in focus part of the time on this camera, unless you're really good at guesstimating. Excuse me, I keep burping. Yeah, so the cheaper models, if you're going to look for Polaroid, I would say look for the more expensive ones, because in the long run, they're just going to be a lot better. You're going to have better images come out of them. So let me go ahead and reframe here. I know it's probably not the best thing to do while shooting, but you know, not everyone is perfect. And I am definitely not perfect. Let me go ahead and switch back to autofocus. Try to get my camera to focus up here. Let's give it something to focus on. My hand. There we go. Okay, cool. One thing I'm going to show you is if I extend the bellows and then set the camera on its side. Actually, I'm going to have to focus by myself on this one. Oh, the camera's too close. You know what, I'm just going to zoom it. There we go. They're too far away. Okay, this right here is for a flash. This is what a flash looks like. I know it's out of frame, but I'll have another video on the flash itself, excuse me, coming out soon. But you just plug the flash in like so to the side, and then you mount it on top of your camera. And I'll have a video, like I said, on that alone. So go check that out if you have a flash, and if you don't have a flash, you should probably check it out anyway. Okay, so my card was full again, so I had to transfer video from my card to the computer. My card is 4 gigs. It stores 4 gigs, but shooting in 720p sucks that down pretty quick. Excuse me. So basically what I was saying was go ahead and check out my video about the flash module if you have not already, because it's a cool video, or it's informational, maybe not informational. Wow. It's got a lot of information. Maybe not cool, but yeah, it's interesting. So that's basically everything you need to know about the Polaroid. If there were things that I missed, I will probably hear about it in the comments or something like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, my name is Taylor, and I'm going to have a whole series on these Polaroid cameras, like a buyer's guide, how to install film, what kind of film you should buy, and why you should buy it, accessories, and blah blah blah. So at the risk of losing your attention once more, if I have already done so in the rest of the video, which I probably have because I can ramble on like I am now. But anyway, check out my other videos, please. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. Hopefully you liked it, because I kind of put a lot of effort into it. Maybe not as much as I could have, but okay, anyways, my name's Taylor. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!